I want to introduce you to a movement today. It's called Take Nigeria Back. Fellow Nigerians, it's time for action. Let's finally act to stop this injustice against us. Let's act to stop the stealing of our resources. Let's act to stop the hijacking of our children's futures. Let's act to stop the trampling of our human dignity by heartless, selfish, morally bankrupt politicians. It's time to stop merely complaining. Let's rise and take our country back. No one will do it for us. Let's make the change that we want to see happen. Martin Luther King once said that freedom is never voluntarily given by the oppressor. It must be demanded by the oppressed. We've been oppressed endlessly. Let's demand our freedom now. We must take Nigeria back from the syndicate of old politicians who have been recycling themselves as our leaders while raping us endlessly. Let's take Nigeria back from those who seek our continued oppression and suppression for their own selfish gains. We sweat and we bend ourselves out of shape year in, year out merely to survive. Our children have no future in our own country. We send them to schools in order to secure their future, yet these criminals ensure that our sweat and blood spill in vain. Our leaders have failed us. They have basically killed millions all these years when they institutionalized corruption. The resources meant for the development of our country are being massively looted into politicians' pockets while the country degenerates and becomes unbearable. All this just so they can buy several homes in foreign countries, buy yachts and exotic cars and jewelry, while the rest of us wallow in poverty. When they did not provide basic amenities with the resources we entrusted them, they killed us. When they did not build good hospitals, they killed us. When they did not provide constant electricity, they killed us. When they did not provide good roads, they killed us. They degrade and dehumanize us in our own country. Their children do not go to schools here. Their families don't use the hospitals here. So what do they care? Our own children in desperation endure the unimaginable, trying to make a future for themselves. Our young women should not have to drown in the Mediterranean. Our young men should not have to endure slavery in Libya in this age. How can we then merely keep complaining and take no action? A country with vast resources as ours should not be suffering this fate, this hopelessness, this helplessness. Note this. Tribal sentiments are their weapon of mass deception and destruction. They divide us in order to conquer us. Now it is enough. Let us unite to defeat them. Make no mistake, these politicians know no tribe and they have no compassion for us. They have no plans for us and our children except to use us in the next elections. They become your tribesmen during the elections, but after they win, they are only for themselves and their families. How many of them after they win have ever looked back to ask you how you survived in this country that they have so destroyed? Rather, they go off and they recklessly steal our resources. This movement is not about tribe. Corruption knows no tribe. Corruption knows no region. The corruption of our leaders has destroyed all corners of our country, from the small village in Borno to the big city of Lagos, from Kogi to Onitsha. Corruption has not spared any region, east, west, north, south. So corruption does not discriminate. We will not be discriminated. We will not discriminate in this fight. We can win by sending a clear message in the next elections. Nigerians, everything is at stake right now. The alternative is to continue in this darkness and hopelessness. The alternative is to continue to toil when there's no hope. The rest of the world has left us behind. That's why I call you now to join us in this movement and say, enough is finally enough. I call on the youth of Nigeria everywhere. I call every student because your future is uncertain in this current environment. I call every man and woman who identify as Nigerians. Rise up now and do not sleep until you act. This is a movement for people who want a better future for themselves and the next generation starting now. Enough empty talk. Enough pessimism, because talking and doing nothing is no longer an option. Nothing worth having was ever achieved without action. Rise up now, citizens of Nigeria, and let's take our country back so that in 2019 we can see a turnaround. We deserve better. We deserve a country where when you work hard, you can feed yourself and your children. When you struggle to finish school, you can get a job. We deserve electricity and good hospitals. We deserve good roads. We deserve decent schools and clean water. We deserve for our children to have a future in our country and not clamor to be second-class citizens or slaves in foreign countries. We deserve a government that cares for us. We deserve to have our vast resources work for our benefit. We deserve not to have everything stolen from us by criminal politicians. Now you ask me, how do we win and what can we do today? First step, join this movement to take Nigeria back and spread the word. This movement is for everyone who has suffered in the hands of corrupt leadership, all of us. From the student who will leave school with no hope of a job, to the mother who is not sure where the next meal is coming from for her children, to the road user whose life is at risk every day from traveling on the death traps we call roads, to the small business owner who runs at a loss because there's no electricity to power the business, to the pregnant women, the elderly, the sick, everyone who has had the misfortune of being in deplorable conditions in our hospitals, including people forced to flee the country in search of a livelihood, even when it means pocketing their graduate degrees and doing menial jobs in foreign countries. The suffering is endless. 99% of us are included. So this is a movement to finally free ourselves from the shackles of selfish and corrupt politicians. Second step, register to vote. If you're over the age of 18, go out and register to vote. That is your right. That is your power. Let no single person of legal age fail to register to vote. After you have secured your voice by registering to vote, then we are poised to take Nigeria back in 2019. We have to vote out the politicians and everyone connected to them who have held our progress and our future ransom all these years. If you do not register to vote, then you give the same politicians the right to continue to rape us, and you call this movement to fail. We cannot afford to fail. After you get your voter card, the next step is to pay attention. We have to observe and rally around a true leader. A leader with a vision and integrity who will finally get us out of this mess. A leader who is well and truly educated, intellectually sophisticated and bold. We should vote someone who has nothing else to gain from being president other than a true desire to leave a legacy by doing the right thing. It will be different this time because when the old politicians who have destroyed this country come again with their paltry bribes of cash or bags of rice to bribe us for our votes, we will collect those bribes because it's the money they have stolen from us. But when it's time to vote, we will do something different. We will not vote for them. We will not vote for the one who gives a bribe. Whoever gives you a bribe is looking to steal from you. We will vote for our best interest this time. Otherwise, that paltry sum or that bag of rice will be all you get. And your future and your children's future would have been sold off. Vote for the one who will bring change to this country. Vote for someone with integrity. Vote for someone who is sensitive to our plight. Vote for the one who will be brave enough to take on the corrupt syndicate. Vote for the one who will not rob us. Vote for the one who will bring light to this darkness. Vote for someone young and vibrant. Join this movement. Nigerians, let us be proactive. Merely complaining has not and will never help us. It's time to act. Send this message to all corners of the world. Let every Nigerian receive this message. Also, join this movement on Facebook. Type in Take Nigeria Back to find it on Facebook. We are at a turning point of our history and we can do it. God bless Nigeria.